So I'm going to be breaking down the coloring decisions behind some scenes in my short film Smile For Me that I'll be releasing this Saturday. Now here we have the opening scene. And if I turn all this off, as you can see, as you can see, bleak, no color coming in, not even corrected. This is just the raw file footage. This is how most things look before you see them in movies or TVs when they're shot naturally. And then we add the color grading. And so what I was going for was a bleak and bluish tone world. Why? Because blue as a color is more melancholy and sad. And I wanted that to reflect my main character who's currently going through a sad time in her life. So I have you distant from her as well in the scene. And even these trees, which she's taking a picture of, they don't appear very vibrant. They're dulled out and kind of blend into this gray world, which is what I did on purpose. And the only thing I really want to explain here, truthfully, would be, the temperature node right here. And the reason why this is important is because if I turn this off, it feels a little bit warmer. And I didn't like that. I wanted a bluer, somber tone. So I dropped the temperature to sort of add this bluish tint over top of it. And even if I play around with this, I can make it super warm. I can make it super freaking cold, but that just looks unrealistic. And that's just the power of color grading. Once you start to understand what all these different buttons and sections do, is you're honing in on the feeling. I'm not going to explain the technical stuff because I don't know that well too much, but I'm honing in on a feeling of sadness. And what's usually sadness? Bleak, dull colors, bluish grayish tones, no vibrancy in the world. And that's what I was trying to reflect in this scene. So I was aiming for that with all of these different nodes. And I kept it consistent throughout other scenes in the beginning. As you can see, it kind of all has this very bluish dim tone until I cut to this scene. Now here we have this almost pasty, sickly yellow, and if I once again turn all this off, of course that's not how this hallway looks like, it's me changing it, the power of editing. And the main thing what I wanted to do here, if I skip ahead when she's coming here, is I was focusing on this line. And here's why. I wanted her going into her home to feel like the entrance to a horror movie. I wanted it to feel uncomfortable and bleak. And if I actually come to this window over here, I used a power window here, which is essentially where I focus in only on this door and color grading it, and I artificially darkened it. I gave this a little bit extra eeriness as she's walking in. If she goes fully into the door, you can see she kind of disappears a bit. It almost blends into this bleakness. I feel like without you seeing her legs, she was almost be hidden in this pathway. And I did that intentionally to show that her going home is a uncomfortable experience. It kind of absorbs her. She loses her light and she sort of blends into the bleakness of being outside and being at home. There is no vibrancy here. It has this pasty, sickly yellow. And I'm trying to hide her and show you that a lot of her life is bleak, it's terrible, and it consumes her. It consumes any joy she could kind of have or want to have with her hobby being photography, with the respect and confidence in herself. And that was my thought process through all of these decisions. Even if I'm doing very basic color grading here, I'm still always considering the psychology of the feeling. Because yellow, typically in color theory, is a very sickly color. It doesn't make you really feel that good. Sometimes it can. Yellow can be very vibrant and happy, but can also reflect sickness and almost disgust, if you will. So that's just the beauty of studying colors as well, and understanding different ways you can use color to your advantage. And all these nodes, of course, all these nodes have a different thing I'm doing. I should actually label these in the future for most of my films. But yeah, here I'm playing, oh, that turned everything off, my bad. Here I was playing around with like the shadows and the highlights, which essentially just the darkest and lightest spots of the scene. And making that so that, as I see, it was too bright. I didn't like that, and it felt too artificially dark here. So I made it darker all around to make sure that this shadowy dark door didn't feel out of place. And these are just the things that I'm thinking of and decisions I'm going through as I'm coloring this by myself to learn, even though I eventually want to work with a colorist for most of my films so that they could teach me while I'm also paying them to do it for me. And I think the last scene I would want to cut to is actually this scene right here, actually. Because once again, the beauty of power windows is unmatched. Because look how I can just artificially darken this hallway right here. But you see the separation where the rest of the house is bleak and kind of grayish, but her over there is very bright and blue. I wanted that separation because of her because of the distance between her and her mother, that there is a uncomfortable tension here, and that where her mother kind of blends into this apartment, she is separate from it in the background. That's kind of what I was going for. And actually, funny thing, this window back here, I also artificially darkened a little bit because it was just a little too bright for my liking, so just made that like a little bit less, more like light nighttime. And then we cut to the, I'm sorry, it's just a very funny freaking face. This look of, I don't want to be here. Please kill me now. Why do I exist? Can't I just go live in a ditch somewhere and ditch this freaking house? I don't know her face. That's my actor's face. Very funny. But once again, if I turn everything off, completely overblown, what I wanted to focus on is creating this sickly feeling in a conversation with her mother. I didn't want to make it too bright. I wanted to just keep it bleak, but go, instead of making it bluer, I wanted this almost grungy yellowish tone because of the fluorescent light above her that's also yellow beaming down. I kind of wanted to mirror that light, but on the scene where fluorescent light is not that great. It's pretty pasty as a light. It doesn't make things very bright. It kind of flushes things out too much. And I want to kind of reflect that in her skin over here. We're talking to her mother feels very sickening for her. She doesn't really like what's happening and everything. And you can almost see that there's a lack of energy or care to what's going on. Even the walls themselves, there's no real separation in tone or color besides her face. And these are things that I am figuring out how to do better. I think my skin tones could have been better here. I think I could have highlighted more, but even this little light on her nose right here, I think I did a good job bringing that to life too. Could have highlighted the lipstick more on her lips. Just different things I'm noticing now as I'm explaining this, my decisions for it. Into which I'm just trying to make the scene feel uncomfortable, make it feel tense, and make you as the audience watching feel uncomfortable in how I use proper colors for it. I'm still learning color theory myself, so I'm not doing a great job explaining too much of this. It's just all just things I'm figuring out in my head as I'm exploring and learning. But the big difference in why the importance of keeping this consistent bleakness is for this scene right here with the other main character, Masami. Now you see the complete difference in how bright and vibrant this shot is compared to, let's say, the opening scene. And now part of that, of course, is the clouds and everything. But my goal was to show that with her mother, and because of her mother, her initial world is bleak. It's gray, it's dark, and it's uncomfortable and sickly. She feels trapped by it. But with this other character, Masami, the world is vibrant. It's happy. I didn't even do much here to change that because we have so much raw information to work with from the camera. I wanted to like highlight how beautiful life looks with this character. And it is why I made the coloring for all of our scenes with her just much better, much bigger. Even in, like you see here, it's the first time my main character actually like smiles is this scene. Like this face of joy where everything else is just bleakness, gray, hatred, I don't want to fucking be here. And then we come here and it's actually like a genuine smile. And that's just showed a complete contrast in the relationship with her mother's relationship with this other woman that she happened to meet in the film. And that's the beauty of coloring. That's just the beauty of the subtlety of it. So where you, even if you don't know why the scene makes you feel happy, you can feel it. And people I've shown the film to actually, who don't even watch films like that, have told me that they've noticed the difference because of the contrast of what character made her feel what, which means that I did a great job with the coloring of this. And just all of our scenes with her are typically, you know, just a little bit vibrant. They're a little, oh, why is that not showing up? Okay. And even scenes like this with her where, you know, it's like the world is so, like the color of the trees, the grass, everything popped. It's so vibrant. There's so much life here when she's in the frame versus when she's with her mother, and everything is much bleaker and grayer by comparison. And that's all by design. It's all my decisions and what I'm thinking about going into. Just the basis of my coloring decisions. I've focused on this real split decision between a bleak, bluish, gray, sickly tone world with her mom, whereas with Masami, it's a very vibrant, bright world that has a lot more vibrancy to it. And that's how I focused when I went into color grading for just the majority of these scenes. yeah, sorry if this wasn't too technical. I'm still beginner at color grading, so I don't really know how to explain everything to the best of my ability. But I'm studying color theory now. I'm studying how to grade properly on DaVinci now, get more advanced with these nodes to make sure that my films have better tone and overall feel to them besides just the shots and the acting. So thanks for watching.